being shocked awake into like, oh my God, I don't like my life. Like,
Damn.
this does not DI work for me.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
have not done enough like sleep and consume for myself. You, David, you're play first also, right?
Yeah.
Playas.
No, three Playas here. And then there's John.
He's like, what
I
is
don't play?
What is play?
Do not
No,
play.
that is actually legitimately why I want an OPS episode, because I want to know what play is.
The big hormone Enneagram.
Let me lay it on the line. I got a little freakiness inside. Let you know that the man has got to deal with it.
I'm John Lekovich, 415, sexual self-pres, 458 Trifix.
I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual, 9 with 1 wing, 974 Trifix.
What up? It's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing 7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm a 3-wing 4 self-pres social, a 369 Trifix.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a social self-preservation 9-wing 1, 963 Trifix.
If you like or hate us, make sure you go like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and make sure you leave us a review.
What's up, everybody? This week we have a short episode, a side conversation we had about OPS after one of the episodes. But before we get into that, we need to hit some of our plugs, and also to let y'all know that the next episode is going to be about stolen youth. It's a documentary on Hulu. It's about a cult with some college kids and an 8 sort of character, and there's a lot of like really wild shit that happened. But check that out on Stolen Youth so you're not lost about what we're talking about. Buy John's book, Instinctual Drives and the Enneagram. If you've been listening to this podcast and you still haven't bought his book, something's wrong with you. Get his book on Amazon. Leave a review if you haven't already. And then Josh and John have started a new Enneagram school called the Enneagram School. For the past 2 months, they've been teaching a new course on Josh's new object relational theory of the centers. And it's been really good. We've talked about that multiple times on here, and it's still something that we're all learning from. It was originally just a 4-part course, and now it's a 6-part course. They've released recent classes on Trifix and how this new way of looking at object relations opens Trifix up and makes it more, makes it easier to work with from the point of view of inner work. So you can check that out at theenneagramschool.com. And then DAA, Dark Arts Academy. We are developing intuition to be able to see the types clearly and to become dangerously perceptive at being able to figure out and make psychological distinctions in real time. And recently we've done classes on 3 versus 9, 3 versus 6, some of the most common mistakes in typing. We just did a class on Austin Butler, the guy who played Elvis. That was really fun. And we've also done some classes on Trifix. So the DJ Trifix and the Bermuda Trifix, which those are the 2 most common Trifixes. So if you want to get a breakdown on some of the strengths and weaknesses and the growth points for those Trifixes, you can check that out at enneagrammer.com/DAA. And just in general, if you have been typed, even if you haven't been typed by us, and you want to understand the implications of your type and to compare and contrast your type or the type that you think you might be with other types, to explore all the different distinctions and all the different, your wing and your fixes and the instinctual stacking and how all that colors your type, our library of content is the best thing available for that. And it's also just a lot of fun. It's just an entertaining way to explore the Enneagram. And of course, we have David's Trifix booklet, which is an archetypal, groovy, evocative illustration and exploration of the Trifixes. He's got some descriptions to go along with that and some graphics. It's a really, really interesting way to look at Trifix. You can get that at enneagrammer.com. And last but not least, we have our lady drama, who's the world-leading expert on the Enneagram and astrology. If you want to explore your astrological chart in tandem with your Enneagram typing, or you can reach out to Alexandra at her website, SaturnRuled9, with the number 9.com, to schedule a session. You can also find, all the silly social drama that she likes to talk about and her insights on her website as well. So with that, enjoy the episode. It's pretty short. Next week, we're going to be talking about stolen youth. So, get hopped up on that documentary on Hulu. Watch that before those episodes drop so you know what the hell we're talking about. All right.
I was going to come on to this call today and just start fighting all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
was
thought
really-
about it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I thought about fighting, guys.
I thought.
Yeah.
That was all
So
the
you
fighting
really
she needed.
considered it.
It was a thought.
Yeah.
It created some ripples, and I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm good.
Satisfied.
Some aggressive thoughts about you before I got on this call.
Yeah, I also 6 imagined all of your responses and just battled it out there.
Dissipated.
Yeah. You, David, you're play first also, right?
Yeah.
Playas.
No, three Playas here. And then there's John.
He's like, what
I
is
don't play.
John.
What is
do
play?
not
Do
play.
not-
No, that is actually legitimately why I want an OPS episode, because I want to know what play is.
Yeah.
I've explained it like 3 or 4 times. Every single time he's like, wait, so can you tell me what that is again?
I do not understand this at all.
Sounds
Let's
like,
all
hey,
play.
it's just like when someone says something, you say something back, and you're having fun. It's like, all right, no problem.
It is the gathering of, information, ideas, concepts, and stuff like that through OE, specifically for like the group, for in exchange with other people. So a lot of it is it's just sharing ideas with
Oh, okay.
people, exchanging with people, and processing that in the moment.
So, Alexander,
free
give me
exchange.
your quickie just like that for Blast, because Blast is.
Blast is the organizing of information for people. So both you and John have the for people aspect last,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
whereas Emeka and I have the for self aspect last. Where
Yeah.
Emeka's not processing for self, I'm not collecting for self. Okay, so more blast shit is like you are collecting all of the information through consume. You're playing with other people. You're in exchange of information with people. But what you're processing it for yourself too with sleep. But what you're not doing is then organizing it and then telling people what you're fucking up to and thinking and like where your position is.
And the other aspect of Blast is taking the known after you've organized it and doing something with it, producing something with it.
Yeah.
And so because you're processing and you're compiling so much stuff, you get a huge pile, like with your book,
Yeah.
that needs to be organized in a way that
Keeps growing too.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the Blast thing of if you eventually organize something, the next natural thing is to share it with people because it's now consumable by somebody else because you're organizing someone else's experience of something. I mean, I have a demon, so it's still something I need to work on because it's like you get addicted to your saviors, and so there's this new stuff, and I'm processing new stuff. Or I'm consuming new stuff and trying to understand what it means to me. Maybe I'm changing my understanding of myself based on the new stuff, but then it gets to a pile of you haven't organized it in a way that can amount to anything externally that could be useful to anybody else. And so I do it some, but I don't do it enough.
Yeah, and both you and John, because you both have Emeka and John both have Blast Third. There's this way where they're like, how do I say this? There's this way where they can blast without like the self-consciousness of the blast. So this has
interesting.
resulted in both of your like unnecessarily long monologues where you like don't realize if people are responding anymore.
I don't know what you're talking
And especially
about.
John, because John has play at the very last.
Yeah.
So his blast is like more potent in the sense that like
And he's
I'm just gonna and it's double masculine.
double masculine blast. So he's like doing muscle
So
curls
palatable.
Yeah.
of blast. When he starts going, he's going.
Yeah. And leaving no opportunity to
Leaving
play either.
Everybody's speechless.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't
Or
have
asleep.
play. So when he's talking, John's blasting.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
he's not going to stop talking until he's done blasting.
Yeah. John, yeah. An implication of play last also is that you're not here for like the exchange and the conversation. You're here to just like, I'm consuming, I'm processing, or I'm fucking telling you what's up. But
Right.
a conversation where we're learning together, I don't care.
not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have anything to say to that. I learned, like, even being on these calls, like, it took me a while to learn just be like, just show up, you know? Just kind of be like, hey, let's hang out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, as play lead, I underestimated how much I can co-create conceptually
Yep.
with other people's minds. Yeah, like
co-create
even
is
just
play.
listening back to the pods, like I realized like that's a really potent learning method for me. Of maybe I'm not going to remember everything that was said, but there's something that happens when you hook up with somebody else's mind and there's like a co-creative conceptual thing that I can't do on my own. I mean, you can do something on your own, but there's something that happens when I hook up with John or Joseph or whoever, like they add something that is the mix is a unique thing. And I just need to listen to it back and be like, oh, that was an interesting combination. And if I can just record and download what was generated, that's like a really potent learning method for me.
Yeah, and yours is going to be, both you and David are going to have, what am I saying? Both of yours are going to be more intense in the sense that you guys both have OE in your first two functions, like you're double gathering.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm like, I learn through exchange, but then I also like, how do I say this? I like feel certain about what I have learned only when I can talk about it, only when I can say it.
Yeah, we're both
if I can't like,
consumed.
yeah. If I like can't come up to any clear thought, oh my God, I think I'm losing my mind. If I can't come out with any clear, cohesive like sentence about what I've talked about, or what I've learned, then I don't know enough yet, and I still need to talk. I still need to be in exchange. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas John does not learn with people. He's doing the consume on his own.
Yeah.
And then needs to like process it on his own for himself.
Yeah.
And then spits it out at people. And then maybe after that plays with people.
Yeah, that's why me, David, and Joseph work pretty well together because we do it separately, but we also do typing together, and you have to be able to take in what the other people are observing and update what you've observed and do that in real time. And so you have to iterate. I mean, I think that's one thing we do really well is iterating in like learning really fast, while everyone's observing.
Yeah, you guys, the three of you also have three sleep demon, right? Yeah, and so there's like that's a shared advantage you guys all have in the sense that your best learning is going to be in tandem with people.
Yeah, in real time. So, I mean, the thing that we all have to work on is there's so much stuff that we've generated that isn't being gone, like no one's recording and going over and organizing those things. Yeah. And so there's like the sleep blast processing of, can we like go through all these episodes and compile all these nuggets and put them in, fucking articles that can be blasted out. Because we come up with so much stuff that none of us wants to go back over the same stuff.
Oh, right.
And
like
organize it.
All.
Yeah. I want to keep playing and consuming.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've all lost me, so I'm going to go eat ice cream.
All right. Enjoy your ice cream.
Bye. All right, bye.
See ya.
No, we should do it OPS soon because I've not to say that I've lost interest because I'm still subscribed and I watch your classes because I still learn stuff. But from a personal point of view, I've gotten probably most of what I was looking for in terms of, all right, this is the weekly practice of whatever shit that I need to be doing. In terms of my blind spots, but it would be cool to look at the sort of dynamics. I want Josh to get his done because I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I want to know Josh's too.
He's probably a blaster. He's probably a bass blaster. I'd be surprised if he's not.
Saber blast, you mean?
Yeah, like a saber blast. Like he's
I
gotta
would think
be.
so too. He uses so much. Yeah. What was I going to say? Something else that would be interesting is the four of us all have a different blind spot. We're different last.
Yeah, right.
So talking about the concept of tidal waves also could be really interesting too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and So, what's Joseph in terms of animals?
Joseph is consume, play, blast. He's sleep blast also, and it's this sort of same lesson of, at least one of the things I've written down for myself is, I have to just slow myself down. Like any sort of big decision, the impulse is to take action right away, but I need to give myself like at least a few days to a week. I make really good decisions if I have enough time, like, because if I can actually settle down into how I feel about something and the values. And so the same thing goes for Joseph. It's like when something happens, it's like, oh, we need to react now. But it's like maybe 3 days later when you've thought about it and you've actually, this is what actually matters to me. I don't need to react in such a big way. And so that's one of the big takeaways is for sleep last, if you're not taking the time to locate within yourself what something means to you. Like the 5 I was talking about, he's a sleep savior with my functions. So I had a long conversation with him, like, what is happening? What does sleep process mean to you? And he said that anytime something happens, before he does anything, he has to locate within himself, like he has to find where to put it in his soul. And it seems like the most obvious thing in the world, but just imagining that you're putting off doing that in lieu of just doing more stuff, and that's basically what my life is.
Damn.
It's like the assumption that I already know where it's located, but I haven't actually taken the time to locate really where it is, because I'm sort of approximating. I kind of know how I feel about this, but I haven't actually taken the time to actually place it. And so he's saying, like, before I do anything, I have to first find out where this is in me. And I'm like, yeah, that's intense.
That's so instinctual to me to do that. I don't know how to do without doing that. It's like,
yeah. And the only thing you do more than that is the gathering part, which is just like, oh, what else is there? I'll just collect these fucking berries here, and then you eat the berries, and then you have to think about them for however fucking long.
That's been interesting to see. Like I just thought, oh, I have a 5-wing, whatever, but like I am constantly excavating and learning about things. Like my relaxing is learning, and like the map getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it also explains.
Go ahead.
It explains some of the dynamic when John and I argue can also be explained by this like polarity we have in our animals and our whatever. Because like play, we need to process it right now, and together, and we have to do it right now. Whereas John needs to like, whereas John needs to back off, and he needs to like find it in his body and let it settle and understand what it is, or else it's going to be like a reactive, like pushing away thing.
Yeah, like I'll say something like mean or explosive really fast when I don't get that space to process.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, fuck off, like leave me alone, like give me that space. It happens real fast when I get like, bombarded.
Yeah, and then if I'm not getting some kind of like communication or whatever, I'm just coming at him harder.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on, right? Blast it to me.
The thing with being play lead with these withdrawn elements is that there is this feeling of at least I guess my DE is still very small, so I don't the radius of who I'm gonna want to engage with is very small, but I'll end up doing OE by myself. So let's say I need to process something, I'm still collecting and going off on all these different explorations on my own. And so I'm not doing sleep processing, even though I'm not talking to anyone, I'm not engaging anyone. I'm on my own, but I'm doing OE within myself. And so it's like, I need to get away. You think I'm actually going to process? No, I'm getting away so that I can go expand within myself.
God, that's so true.
Extroverted observer is what the OE means?
Yeah. Extroverted observer. So I'm doing OE
which is
on
the
my own
function, by the
separately. I'm not, it seems like I'm not doing what John's doing, even though I'm getting away from people. And I'm like, oh, she wants to talk about it. Like, I don't want to talk, but I'm just going to go off by myself and do like 5 different things.
Yeah. Yeah. What else was I going to say? There was something else there too. About the withdrawn thing is that like because there's 3 play firsts, here, and yeah, we have a lot of withdrawn elements. So like, I feel it. The way that I've understood it too is that like, yeah, we're all addicted to our saviors or whatever. But I've been trying to grapple how I have a double extroverted, type as a withdrawn person with like withdrawn influences. And it comes from, it's just a feeling of obligation. Like it does give me like a certain high, but a lot of the time, even when I have run out and I do need to like separate and process, I still feel an obligation to stay engaged, to stay connected, to keep Effie providing some kind of like comfortable atmosphere, even when I don't want it. That's why meetup stuff can piss me off so much, because when it comes crashing down, I'm like, fuck you guys. I just exhausted myself for nothing.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't just behave.
Hopefully they come around to taking the Enneagram seriously, because their system is pretty incomplete without the context of, these types from the perspective of a different Enneagram type. So if like,
yeah, I agree.
The same type twin as me, it's like I'm doing DE from an 8 rejection perspective, which is going to look very, very fucking different. And I've got, all this withdrawn stuff. What I consider the tribe is very small as a social blind, rejection type. Like I only care about a couple people and everybody can fucking go to hell. I don't care, so it's.
I've
and
said it before. Go ahead.
No. Well, it's a quick thing. Like your DE is also going to show up in an 8 sense of like providing rather than engaging. Like I'm a 9 and social. So mine is going to be a lot more engagey. Even though I have blast, which could be seen as like a provider thing.
Yeah, it's more of a conceptual holding environment type of thing, where it's like the group represents certain boundaries of the way we want. I think people should engage the Enneagram, and of course, people within that environment can do certain things, but you control certain leverage points within this environment, which shape the way people interact in it. And so that kind of still keeps me separate from any one person. It's more about that I care about, that sort of conceptual holding environment. So some random person saying something to me, it's like, you're like, that's not what I give a fuck about.
Yeah,
I don't care about you. I care about the sort of like ephemeral, space that you could exist in. You could be deleted, but it's like what this space could mean to a potential person.
What's your very last function? NI?
Yeah.
Okay, mine too. Yeah. David, what were you going to say?
Well, I've said it before that my fantasy is still for us to be the ones that teach them the Enneagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, there's some chance it could happen. I don't know that it ever will, but just the fact that there's so much crossover in terms of how many of their people have come to us.
Yeah.
It's like a shit ton at this point.
Yeah.
One of the things, like I joined one of their Facebook groups, and like, cause I wanted to just like creep and see if anybody said anything that I could understand. And it just seems like people don't really know how to define or describe the system. It's like, there's this sort of like collective faith that there's like some gesturing at like, oh yeah, we kind of know this, but there's like a pretty severe lack of just, I don't know, fluency.
Foundational,
that like at least the Enneagram has. And so like, I think that there are these useful things that you can bring together with the two of them. But yeah, man, it's sort of like, wow, there's still nothing I can grab onto here.
Yeah, I mean, most people are really bad at explaining.
The Enneagram, just I think the sort of mental style that the Enneagram requires, like there is kind of like I don't know how to put it. You have to see that something penetrates past another thing. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2 all the time. I don't have the words to explain. Like MBTI, like the way they're doing it, it feels like I have a hard time sometimes switching over to that style of thinking, because it's like it's very linear.
Yeah.
Unless we end up doing something that approaches a scientific approach, which
I think Josh could probably do it.
Yes, you're right. He's learning how to type, so yeah, he's got that mental style.
He fucking
Look at what he's
does.
done
I
with
mean,
the
yeah.
object relations. He's basically made it less
Yeah, he's made
like,
it less. He's talked about like at 9 months this happens, at 4 months this happened. Like what the
Right.
fuck? We're talking about the Enneagram. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It is
Grounding
funny
it
how
in
like
reality.
once he got his like little that direction button pushed for him, he just started going for it. You know, like
Mhm.
after years of like, oh, I don't know the Enneagram.
Yeah, he's been sitting on this shit for a while, I'm sure. No, he's the guy to do something like that because he's got the intuition to do the weird stuff, but he also deeply needs to make it legitimate in the world of legitimate people.
Mhm.
I think
Do you
it's
think it'd be
partly
blast
seeing
first?
us, do creative stuff, come up with valid, original stuff, and seeing it become popular.
Mhm.
That was like, yeah.
And also, as a six fixer,
Mhm.
he has enough to work off of, right? Like he's like he knows the landscape enough to feel confident to kind of get started with his own information,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
his own direction. Do you think he's a blast first?
I as of right now, I think
I would think.
he's either SIFE or FESI. Like I can't figure out if he's a decider or not, but like probably similar to Kristen.
That
I think
makes sense.
I think he's sensory and he's like organized, and he's
That
definitely
makes
got
sense.
he's definitely got FE. I'm not sure if he's FE savior or not, but like those functions seem right to me.
Yeah, I think no, he's fucking for sure got FE. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So we tried to do our call and the internet went out and it deleted everything. But one of the things we were talking about was how I think like in a lot of ways my like early couple years here was, very much attaching to you guys. And I kind of got on the like, man, yeah, this is something I'm still kind of processing, but I think that in response to finding 9, I like went to 6 for too long. And what I mean by that is like, I feel like I had to go through a phase where I was like over honoring all my reactions, and like that showed up in my relationship with John, but that also showed up in like how I would respond to people in the group, just kind of like fuck you, kind of you're dumb thing.
Yeah.
And how I feel like I'm coming back to 9, but in like a fuller way because I'm aware of my reactions now.
Yeah.
And anyway, that came up in the conversation with Josh and I was like, yeah, I think I tried to pretend like I don't care, but I care. And he's like, oh my God, dude, me too. I care so much. That's Effie.
Yeah, that's Effie. Yeah, I think he's got to be Savior Effie.
Yeah.
That's my sense of him. Just
Yeah, there is a possibility that he could be like sleep ST. Possibly.
like SITI.
Yeah.
He just seems
he's not
so
really engaged. Well,
Yeah, it's possible. It's
I don't
possible.
know. I don't think he's consume last.
I think he could be.
I think it's either it's got to be consumer play. It's just not sleep or blast.
Right. I was thinking he was consumed last. Yeah. But like SI.
Actually, yeah, I guess that does work with some of his themes of just like kind of realizing too late that he doesn't fucking like what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just kind of trying stuff on.
I mean, Kristen's consumed last, and it's just like she's got her consume box of things that she is like consume the hell out of it, and it feels like Josh is similar, where
that's true.
he's Enneagram development and startup coaching, and doesn't really know anything else.
Yeah, we were talking about tidal, not him and I, but me and I think Avery or something like that, talking about tidal waves, and I was wondering what a consume tidal wave looks like. I mean, it's what I did. It's 100% what I did. Like me kind of being shocked awake into like, oh my God, I don't like my life. Like
Damn.
This does not DI work for me.
Yeah.
And I have not done enough like sleep and consume for myself, like that is like the taking in of what the fuck is going on and weighing it against what like my identity is. So my tidal wave was leaving a relationship abruptly, and it's double masculine.
Yeah.
leaving my relationship and probably getting a new apartment in like a few weeks, right? And then moving here like immediately too. You're fat soon enough.
My problem is
That's crazy.
I can latch on to something that seems to work, feels like it works for me momentarily, but it's like it doesn't work for me long term.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.